Welcome to the next installment of my video lecture series for microeconomic principles. And in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the potential test problems that could occur on test number 2, which is occurring on 4-4. And in this one, I'm going to go over the first question here, completing this table. This has to do with being able to calculate the marginal product of labor and the average product of labor. So if you remember, all the marginal product of labor is how much your output or your total product changes every time you hire an additional unit of output. So for our calculations here, it's going to be pretty simple because the denominator is always going to be 1. We're always increasing the labor units by 1, so we're always going to be dividing by 1. So all we really need to concern ourselves with is how much and the magnitude of the change in total product. So when we have nobody working, obviously our output is going to be equal to 0. We hire one worker and our output increases to 10. So the marginal product of labor is 10 minus 0, which equals 10. We do the same thing for the second worker. When we hire our second worker, output increases to 25 from 10. So that is 25 minus 10 equals 15. We do the same for 3. When we have a third unit of labor, our output goes from 25 to 35. So 35 minus 25 is equal to 10. Again, remember that this is being divided by the change in labor units, but this is always equal to 1. We're always increasing the labor units by 1. So these numbers are just being divided by 1. So we go to the fourth one, and what occurs there is that our output jumps to 40 from 35, so 40 minus 35 equals 5. The fifth unit of labor, output increases to 42 from 40, so we have 42 minus 40 equals 2. And for the last unit, we hired another worker to go to a 6th unit of labor, and our output remained constant. It went from 42 and stayed at 42. So 42 minus 42 equals 0. For the average product of labor, all you're going to do is take the total product information and divide by the labor unit. So all you're doing is taking column B here and dividing by column A. So for the first unit of labor, total product is equal to 10. So it's 10 divided by 1, which equals 10. 25 divided by 2, which is equal to 12.5. 35 divided by 3. And I need to take my calculator out. Remember, I will be providing you with a calculator. So we have 35 divided by 3, which is equal to 11.66. $40 divided by 4, which is equal to 10. Make sure I put the equal sign in there. 42 divided by 5, which is equal to 8.4. I should have been able to calculate that on my head. And 42 divided by 6. So we have 42 divided by 6. 42 divided by 6 equals 6. Equals 7, sorry. So that's how you complete that table if I were to ask you that. Also, there's a possibility that it could be, if I don't ask this particular problem on the test, there'll be multiple choice questions where you'll be given a similar table and asked to calculate this and asked to answer it in multiple choice form. So make sure you're comfortable with calculating the marginal product of labor. Remember, that is just total product of labor. Here, the change in total product divided by the change in the labor units. So when we go from no workers to 1 workers, total product increases to 10. So we have 10 in the numerator and 1 in the denominator. So remember that. Generally, I always give the problems where the labor units are always equal to, change in the labor units is equal to 1, so the denominator is always going to be equal to 1, and you're only going to need to look at the magnitude of changes in total product. And then for the average product, you just take the information in the total product column and divide by the labor units.